No ID is meant for a sane audience. No ID may contain liberty-oriented content. Pinko discretion is advised. Now, here's No ID with Paul Banducci and Scott Moskowitz.
Hey, from smoky North Idaho. Still smoky. It's No ID, Idaho's mainstream narrative deconstruction. I'm Scott.
Hello, Internet. I'm Paul. It is pretty smoky. I don't notice much of a difference, though, because I spent 12 years working in a smoky environment, so it's just like home/work.
Par for the course for Prison Paul. Actually, it probably smells.
That's right.
My dad was smoking chicken, and he was like, I couldn't. He's like, normally I can, the smell of it when they're going, it's wafting toward the house, and I'm smelling it. This time, I didn't even know they were there.
Yeah, well, your black smoke has been seasoned with a little bit of Spokane spice to it. It's wafted on over.
Man, and that's we don't mean to make light, of course.
Tastes like Spokane's on fire.
Yeah, man, no kidding. And there's still active fires, but these are the stories still completely dominating the mainstream media at this juncture, at this hour, is the fires and the in-and-out shooting. Still, just from we did a lot of it last week, but this is still just blanketing the media. There's sort of different spins on it now. It's like, oh, people are going back to the neighborhoods because the evacuation orders have been lifted, and now the mainstream is starting to wring its hands about the civilians with the firearms and how that was actually really dangerous and bad. So there are different angles on those same stories, but it is the same stories.
People returning to their homes while being armed. Bad. Okay, mainstream media.
Spokanites were seen shooting at the fire, and we here in the media just want to let them know that's not going to do anything.
Sponsored by Smith & Wesson.
Let's just start with that, yeah.
For many neighbors here near Indian Trail Road, this is the first time that they've been able to come back to this neighborhood since the Spokane complex fires broke out over a week ago. Now, evacuation orders for a majority of the affected areas have been downgraded now that all the fires have at least 50% containment. Throughout our time here in the neighborhood, we've seen firefighting crews mopping up the neighborhood, Vista crews coming through to make sure gas is turned on for folks, as well as law enforcement even patrolling the neighborhood for those families who haven't made it back just yet. Now, neighbors that have returned have been checking on each other and making sure that everyone has what they need, hugging each other. It's been really, really beautiful to see this community come together. Now, we did have a chance to speak with one person, Trisha Lord, who got back today at 6:30 this morning. She explained to me what it was like to come back and see her house still standing after over a week.
Now, before we hear from that lady, I just want to...
Thank God I'm not them.
I have to wonder why Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's how she's feeling. Thank God it wasn't us.
Oh, boy, that could have been me. There, but by the grace of God. I'm just wondering why the mainstream is encouraging, they were like, oh, the neighbors are hugging each other. Don't they know that you can have it and not know it? Why are you hugging?
You too could have the fire and not know that you're spreading it. It's a good thing they got law enforcement there, though, to really stomp out any rebellious fires that might come back.
I knew I was certain the house would be gone, the way the wind was moving. And of course, it's just terrifying. I have people that I love in this neighborhood and I care about. And some of my friends.
Hence the hugging.
My dog walking friend lost her house. And
definitely got to hug her.
It's hard to see. I feel so fortunate.
Other neighbors here in the area say they actually helped fight the fire until 1 a.m. the day that it broke out and jumped the river. Now, overall, across all three fires, 9,944 acres have burned in total, and the fires have affected a combined 921 structures. Now, everyone I've had the chance to speak with today say that they're grateful not just for each other, but for the first responders who helped save their homes and their neighborhoods altogether. Here in Spokane County, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
So you know who's going to have a heyday this next election cycle? Or maybe in February, because typically it seems like February and March and May is when they like to float the levies. $10 says next, February, March, April, May, any and all of the firefighting departments in the Spokane area float a levy. And they can ask for any amount of money they want, and they will get it. The voters will vote 95-1. Yes, take more of our Schmeckles. It's only $60 more per 100,000 of taxable property value we have. Without you, society would collapse. Take all our schmeckles. So, what are the odds, Scott? What do you think? I'm betting $10 on that. We're going to see a levy next spring. It's going to pass overwhelmingly, and it's going to be the biggest one ever.
I mean, it's going to be a boring response from me, but we can't bet against each other if we both think the same outcome. You know, I'm going to lay the same wager you are. Who's going to bet against us?
I guess we could do like the over under on how much they're going to ask for.
Now that would be
10 million.
Good. Yeah.
25 million. $2 million.
That much? Yeah, I would say 5.
Dude,
might be a good number to pick.
I think 5 is a good number. I'm going to take the over. They're going to ask
over
for
on 5.
7.5
for $10. Yep. Yeah, you're on.
Yeah.
I'll take that bet.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, it's a little bit of a
shake hands, so we're going to do the next best thing. It is official. The bell has rung.
I have a cup. I have like 3.
But if they don't float a levy at all next year, we both lose. That's off, obviously.
Yeah. Who's going to pay? Yeah, I guess we'll put money in our own checking account from our personal checking accounts. Makes sense to me. I'll
tell you what. We'll each donate $5.55. $5.55 for the fire.
555. 555.
Yep.
I have a $5 million grant clip that Boise is seeking to, quote, boost mental health and homeless. Wait, what is it? Boost mental health and homeless. Oh, services. Yes, services. We'll get to that. I also have ISP not having enough people applying to be troopers on account of they need more money.
No.
So there's going to be a bond there. So I don't even know where to begin with related stories and, everybody, of course, needing money.
I need money.
Here is Governor, before we get off of the follow-up to the fires here, I got one more, and this is the classic, government burrito supreme leaders getting up in front of podiums and saying how, we're going to cut red tape and we're going to make it so quick and easy for you people to rebuild, which then, of course, leads to the question of, well, what do you, so in other words, you're hamstringing and are making everything expensive and difficult for people normally, but you're promising you're not going to do that sort of for a little while, but then you do anyway. But here's Governor, whoever the hell is the current governor of Washington, Ferguson.
Governor Bob Ferguson signed an emergency declaration today aimed at helping Spokane rebuild faster. William Pitts is at City Hall.
It's like, you assholes, there is an emergency. Yeah, I know. But they declare emergencies. Did they ever even lift the state of emergency from the pandemic era? It's probably still in effect.
Faster. William Pitts is at City Hall tonight, where the governor gave an update on the city's rebuilding process.
The recovery is going to take months, maybe longer. But now that some people are being allowed back into some parts of the fire area, the governor says it's time to focus on how to make that recovery faster and better. Now, the governor signed an emergency declaration that eases some rules and regulations, things like making it easier to get a new driver's license and birth certificate, waiving penalties.
It's almost like they know. We want to make this easier, so we're going to ease off of you. There's just this one time.
Sort of,
it's an emergency.
Kinda. We're going to kind of loosen the noose just slightly. Let's hear how
it always makes me think of a comic I watch that I've got stored away on my computer somewhere, where the government's on the one side and a person's on the other side, and the government goes, "Here you go, citizen. Here's some rights." And the citizen's like, gee, thanks, government. Wait a minute. These were always mine to begin with. And the government goes, "What's that?" He goes, yeah, these were mine to begin with. Why did you take them? And the government goes, "You talk to me like that again, and I'll take them all back." The citizen goes, "Oh, no, okay. I didn't mean it. I'll keep these for now."
Freedom.
Yeah.
Now, the governor signed an emergency declaration that eases some rules and regulations, things like making it easier to get a new driver's license and birth certificate, waiving penalties for late taxes and business licenses. It also waives...
Reflect on that one for a minute. Nothing's going to change about how much we're confiscating, but we won't charge you extra if you're a little bit late coughing it up, citizen.
Good news. We'll make it easier for you to pay.
Right.
Thank you so very deeply.
Waiving penalties for late taxes and business licenses. It also waives some regulations that the governor hopes will make it easier for hospitals to set up shop in the area faster. When it comes to insurance, there's already an order from the state commissioner that prevents insurance companies from canceling policies, in some cases until the end of September. But as we've seen with so many fires in places like California, the concern is what happens after that, and if insurance companies will refuse to cover certain areas or make wildfire coverage prohibitively expensive.
It's always a concern whenever you have.
Oh, wait, sorry for the, you know what? I can't even listen to that. I'm sorry. I should have cut that out.
That's okay. We can talk about that issue for a second. So if you want companies to pull out of markets, telling them what they can and can't do is a great way to get them to pull out of markets. Just ask California, which has basically put price ceilings on insurance companies. And wouldn't you know it, there are only a couple of insurance companies left in California that will insure homes and insure your cars. California has become dubbed a state that most insurance companies can't even do business in because of price ceilings. So as usual, the moment you screw around with price controls, you completely have all the unintended consequences that, of course, somehow, some way, after watching all of this again and again and again, nobody still thinks about.
But it might work for us.
So then one would then wonder, if one had a curious and inquisitive mind, are these consequences actually unintentional? We always talk about this. For the people down below, yeah, because they don't know any better. For the people up top, a lot of them know what they're doing. They're the ones directing traffic. They know. Bunch of lizard people. I'm immediately struck by the, hey, we'll ease some restrictions. We'll make some things easier for you. Like, you could always have done that. If that doesn't give anybody pause, then you just aren't paying attention, and you're beyond help. COVID, the 2020, we saw this in 2020 and 2021 in Idaho. Even is a great example where they loosened some restrictions, like cocktails to go for a few. I don't know, it was about 6 months in Idaho, maybe even a year. It might have lasted a year before they pulled it back and rescinded it. You could whip up cocktails at your cocktail bar, put them in a container that was to go, make sure it's, quote unquote, properly and legally sealed, and sell cocktails to go because bars were closed. So they just waved their magic wand and went, you know what? We're going to get rid of this restriction so that businesses can, not completely tank. And then when things got a little better, Idaho went, give us that right back. It's illegal again. When you see that and, just extrapolate that out to everything else they did, there were lots of examples of that across the country, across the world. The veil should be lifted by now for anybody watching. Truly. Because if they just can stop doing it one day because they declare an emergency or just because they're feeling extra magnanimous to you on Tuesday, and then they take it back on Friday, ta-da! I say bring back tarring and feathering. What was the bit about the hospitals?
It also waives some regulations that the governor hopes will make it easier for hospitals to set up shop in the area faster.
So in other words, there are restrictions that make it harder for hospitals to set up shop, and presumably the defenders of said restrictions would be like, well, they need to be in place on account of the hospitals are going to be unsafe if those things aren't there. For safety, won't somebody please think of the children?
Won't somebody please think of the children?
But when you can just waive them in situations where you've deemed it necessary, then, so in other words, aren't they going to then be unsafe? Like, why are the regulations there in the first place if you can just waive them and then have perfectly functioning? None of it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay. If you think of it from
anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Yeah, really. All right. I'm not even going to play the rest of this stupid clip. You get the idea.
Yep.
Governor Tyrant is going to relax the restrictions for a little bit of time, maybe if you're lucky, but we make sure you pay up, but we just won't charge you. You can be a few days late and we won't charge you. We don't think, although we reserve the right to rescind that.
My house burned down. How am I going to pay my taxes? And in steps Governor Inslee.
Hello, peasants.
Have I got news for you? We'll make it easier to pay your taxes.
You've mixed up your interchangeable leaders. It's Governor Ferguson now. Excuse you.
Oh, forgive me. Once all of our Supreme Burrito Chalupa leaders are all wrapped in the same shitty Statist Tortilla, they all look the same.
Okay, hold on. Too bad there's a cuss word because shitty Statist Tortilla is a good show title.
Just put asterisks in you remove one letter, put an asterisk in, and all of a sudden it's socially acceptable.
Okay, so SH*TTY Statist Tortilla is in the running for show title.
Uh-huh. There you go.
You know, this is another reason that the reason where, you know, there was all this, a lot of wringing of the hands about the Fauxchi, Tony T-Dog Fauxchi, and the congressional hearing, and they dusted off the hot seat for him, and he had to invoke the Fifth Amendment 11 million times, and isn't it a thing? And look, he's finally being brought to task. I can't get spun up about it. I don't care at all. I'm not really sure why anybody cares about this stuff. For one, it's theater, and for two, even if it weren't, Fauxchi is an interchangeable asshole. Like, if it wasn't him, it would be somebody else. So who cares about this guy? People people need something to cling on to, and I get that. You know, I guess it makes a lot of people feel better or something, but it doesn't make me feel better, because who the heck? Governor Inslee, Governor Ferguson, Governor Whitler in Michigan, you know, who cares? These people are all interchangeable.
Well, it's not even a Pyrrhic victory. It's not even that cool, which isn't cool to begin with. All they did was trot him out for a day, lambasted him, while he sat there and pleaded the Fifth 162 times. He said nothing. He just took it on the chin.
We're getting him good.
That's super easy to do. Like, he knew what was going to happen going into it. Everybody knew what was going to happen going into it. You know what that's all about? That's all about Republican senators grandstanding for campaign season. And a lot of those, now, other than Rand Paul and maybe one other, most of them either weren't in office when it happened, or they were in office and they went along with most of it. And if we want to get to the presidential level, here's something that'll bake your noodle. Bring back tar and feathering again, I say. Trump gave the guy a medal. How can the president, who put the medal around Fauci's neck and said, well, he's doing a great job, and gave him something else too, like a raise and a medal and he was the golden boy for a spell under Trump. And now you want to tell me that the Trump administration is going to get him?
Hello?
Trump's our savior.
Yeah,
you sure about that?
It just blows my mind, you know? So yeah, all the people who are cheering about Fauci, you know, really getting it good and hard last week or the week before. It's like, guess what though? Guess what happened to him? Just nothing. Is he in jail? No. Have we fined him $1 gazillion like we should, and take everything he owns and distribute it to people who lost their businesses? No.
Would it even matter if we did?
Is he still employable? You know, he's going to end up being professor emeritus at fucking Berkeley or something. They're going to give him, half the universities on the planet will all give him an honorary degree and call him a hero, and he's going to do fine. Platinum parachute for a guy like that. And if all else fails, he can always move back to the motherland of Israel and he'll be fine.
I've had conversations with people in real life who had even mixed up the timelines in their own head about when, is it under Biden? Like, yeah, who was president in 2020? Well, it was under the Biden, and it's like, well, what about 2020? It's like it's the strangest thing. It's like the amnesia from 5 minutes ago, and then they're like,
yeah,
you know who I'm voting for in 2024? Okay. Does anyone remember?
The guy who gave the other guy a medal. Yeah. It was all just a conspiracy, man, against Trump. They set him up.
Oh, I know. I love that one where it's like, he was railroaded. So do you think that's a good defense of him?
He
lost touch with reality and got railroaded?
Yeah. Well, and him being the guy demanding the Fed turn on the money printer into overdrive so he can put his name on the relief check, the $600 quote unquote relief check that we all were going to get, while they inflated away 25% of our purchasing power in the span of a year. But Trump was totally fighting the good fight, you know.
Yeah, you don't understand. He got bamboozled and he didn't know what he was doing. Oh, are you defending him? Okay, I don't even.
No,
like
I think we all forgot. No.
I guess I don't even like to bring up Trump on this podcast. I mean, we hardly ever talk about it.
He has the biggest brain. He uses the best words. He has the biggest brain. I'm playing 5D chess. Everybody else is playing knuckle sandwiches.
Yeah, and I know we hardly ever even mention the guy on this show because it's not.
No,
we're this is a hyper local revolution, but I sometimes in these contexts it's hard not to bring up because
you see, Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Even if you don't.
And we do live in quote unquote Trump country. And
right.
Hey, we ain't no leftists, but I would actually argue that a lot of Trumpers are leftists as well. I mean, holy smokes, if you look at the policies, they are a strange brew of nationalistic, socialistic, statist, slightly in some ways even fascist. It's a weird brew, man. It is a weird brew. All I know is that when your man Trump talks about protecting capitalism and then turns around and has the Department of Homeland or whatever, the Secretary of the Treasury or whatever the hell, buy up shares of private companies. So now the taxpayer has an investment, basically is quote unquote invested in these companies. That is the beginning of a nationalization of private companies. That's how it starts. So like the government isn't supposed to own stock in private companies, you know. Socialism.
Okay, let's move on to another one of these, grant seeking, we need money.
The city of Boise is on the hunt for more ways to help address the needs of folks experiencing homelessness in our community.
That's folks with an X.
I'm your Boise neighborhood reporter, Brady Caskey, and the city applied for a $5 million federal grant to expand resources.
What, like the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? I'm your friendly neighborhood reporter, Brett Smiles. Stick with me as we go through this homeless camp. Oh, look at that. People are hugging. They're sharing needles. It's beautiful.
Don't stick your head out the window. Otherwise, Brady Caskey might come down upside down and attempt to kiss you.
In our community, I'm your
More
Boise
importantly, don't get on an e-scooter or you might get stabbed to death.
To expand resources for folks with severe mental health and substance abuse issues.
We know that the need exists.
Jessica Barrowed advises the city
So
of
help
Boise.
them yourself.
Jessica Barrowed advises the city of Boise on issues of homelessness.
We continue to watch for these opportunities where we can be creative with funding to fill gaps where we know we need to increase capacity.
Pause it.
Capacity?
Here we go. Creative with funding. AKA, we asked the federal government for money, which actually is either our money that's been ripped from us to begin with, or, as about half of it is now, just printed out of thin air, contributing to inflation. These are the people who will turn around and talk about an affordability crisis and wonder why we can't afford things and why a Big Mac costs $12 instead of $2. And then here we are, doing federal grants for homelessness, a problem that we keep being told that if we throw another dollar at it, it'll get solved. But we've thrown billions and billions and possibly trillions at it. And hey, wouldn't you know it? It's still around. Isn't that weird, Scott? It's still around.
You're understating the case.
Their idea
the more we throw, the worse
problem
it gets.
solving. You are correct. But yeah, creative problem solving, i.e., we just ask for money from the federal government instead of helping them ourselves.
We need this money.
We know that the need exists.
Jessica Barrowed advises the city of Boise on issues of homelessness.
I tried to look up how much Jessica Barrowed is making on a consultant's contract, or is she an employee? It's hard to determine. There wasn't really any available information, but it's not nothing. I can't tell if she works for Ada County but can one see how there are become more and more and more Jessica Barroweds consulting with cities and counties and Burrito Supreme leaders from coast to coast when there are more unhoused people camping on greenbelts? Jessica Barrowed is incentivized to, do I even need to elaborate? I mean, it's self-evident.
Well, it is self-evident to us, but elaboration is still good because, as you and I know, most people don't see it. I think a lot of our people do who listen to us. You guys, you're the smart ones. Spread the word.
We continue to watch for these opportunities where we can be creative with funding to fill gaps where we know we need to increase capacity.
So does she mean increase? She must mean increase capacity. Well, she doesn't actually know.
Increase capacity?
Question mark? I guess know. at shelters is what she means. Like expand the shelters to increase the capacity for unhoused people to come crash at shelters. I mean, do you interpret that a different way?
Why actually solve a problem that your job is built around? And why solve the problem yourself when you can just have someone else have their money stolen and then have it redirected to you?
She says they applied for a $5 million federal substance abuse and mental health services grant with the hope of improving services across the city.
It'll come along with funding for increased services for substance abuse and behavioral health services, as well as recovery housing beds.
The grant was offered in
Cool.
June.
When the money runs out, who picks up the tab then?
And why
Because this is how this stuff works. You get a government grant. You build the apparatus or the infrastructure or whatever. You set it up. You grow this quote unquote network of services and whatnot. Then the money runs out. And then guess what happens, Scott? I bet you can guess.
3 guesses and the first 2 don't count.
With the hope of improving services across the city.
It'll come along with funding for increased services for substance abuse and behavioral health services, as well as recovery housing beds.
Now, all of the people involved in what she just described, why are they not incentivized to not only keep this problem alive, but growing? Why are they not incentivized to do that?
This is another one of those 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count.
The grant was offered in June with a quick turnaround to be submitted in July. Does this have anything to do with some of the incidents we've been seeing on the green belt, or are those things interconnected?
Yeah, that's a great.
Wait, is that a sound drop, or are you saying that?
No, that was me.
Oh.
Does this have anything to do with some of the incidents we've been seeing on the green belt, or are those things interconnected?
Get ready, because this is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man reporter, Brady Caskey, asking this same lady, the
possibly
advisor.
Be the timing of this? Could it possibly have to do with a young man getting stabbed to death by a homeless person in the Greenbelt 3 weeks ago?
How do you think she's going to answer?
No.
This might be an ask
No,
call.
we invest.
Hold on, wait.
That has nothing to do with it.
Here comes the question. Big or small, make your guess before we call. The game begins. It's Ask Paul.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
What is the advisor on the unhoused to the city of Boise? How is she going to answer the question of what's up with the unhoused guy who stabbed the kid to death 2 weeks ago?
Well, that really doesn't have much to do with what we're talking about here. What we're talking about here is making our community stronger. Community. Services. Safety. The homeless people are the real victims here. And we need your money to help them. We're not going to help them ourselves. We're going to steal it from you. And pay no attention to what continues to happen on the Greenbelt. That our beautiful, beautiful Boise police, who should be king next year, have done a great job of policing.
She didn't say it in those exact words. You might be surprised to know, but you're close enough.
The Greenbelt, or are those things interconnected?
Yeah, that's a great question.
That is not a great question.
To do with some of the incidents.
That was a little tribute to John Dvorak.
Or are those things interconnected?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah.
This has been a long-standing need in our community that it's not related.
Oh, we've
to
always had this problem.
A long-standing need within our community.
In our community that
this makes me think of every time when they do a Senate committee hearing, they're always so stupid. They're so stupid, but anytime somebody gets up there and Rand Paul or somebody else grills them, every single time they ask a loaded question, and the person who's answering the question goes, "Thank you, Senator, for that question," before they proceed to answer.
Or not answer, as the case may be.
Thank you for that question, Senator. I plead the fifth.
This has been a long-standing need in our community that it's not related to any single situation or any single area.
No,
she says grants like this are always on their radar. Currently, Boise.
So that's it. Then they just move right along.
And your friendly neighborhood Boise reporter is like, "Oh, okay,
moving along." Listen again to.
Hey, are you guys doing any crime or fraud down there? We're just calling around to see if you guys are doing any crime or fraud. No crime, no fraud. Oh, okay, cool, thanks.
Anyway, bye.
That's all you need to see here, folks.
Yeah. Listen again to what he asked her.
Does this have anything to do with some of the incidents we've been seeing on the Greenbelt, or are those things interconnected?
Some of the incidents.
Are they interconnected?
Like loitering, like littering, like, too many people on skateboards with rock and roll incidents. Yeah.
Are they interconnected?
A murder.
Yeah. Is the fact that an unhoused junkie who'd been in and out of the system 11 billion times, stabbing an innocent kid to death, are they interconnected with the junkies on the Greenbelt?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Well, you see, Brady, this has always been a problem.
This has been a long-standing need in our community that it's not related to any single situation or
for not
any
putting
single
enough
area.
money towards it.
Correct. This has always been true, and it's not connected, and we need money. That's what she said.
This has been a long-standing need in our community, that it's not related to any single situation or in any single area.
She says grants like this are always on their radar. Currently, Boise Police has 3 behavioral health clinicians that can help officers navigate calls related to unhoused folks.
Specifically inside of BPD, it would help add a behavioral health clinician spot that would help with the coordination of homelessness-related calls.
Oh, look. Add another one. Did you hear that? So add another one, and when the funding runs out, that job still exists and will never go away. And now it's on the local taxpayer to pick up the tab. To pick up the tab again, because the local taxpayer is already picking up the tab, either from direct taxation or from inflation against our purchasing power.
Yes, because the local taxpayer is the federal taxpayer. This is a distinction without a difference.
Yeah, and whether they extract the money right out of our wallets or they just magic wand our purchasing power away via the printing press, the effect is still the same.
Specifically inside of BPD, it would help add a behavioral health clinician spot that would help with the coordination of homelessness-related calls.
She explained that an additional position would help them strengthen the system as a whole and make it easier for Boise Police to connect folks in need with resources to help them. The city expects to hear back.
Are you sure this isn't a native ad for BPD? BPD is now taking applications. So in case you want a job with BPD, just know that a $5 million grant's coming down the pipe. In case you want to be a clinician for BPD, the world's best police force, running for mayor next year.
BPD.gov. Yes, that's BPD.gov. Go to BPD.gov for more details.
The city expects to hear back about the status of the grant by the end of September. Reporting in Boise.
Okay, that was the end of it. And then, okay, I know how.
Dude, that read like a native ad for BPD.
Yeah, well, let's do this one then, because we got more. This is native ads from ISP.
Not enough people are applying.
This is okay. Let me just say this last thing before we go on to this. This is from NPR for ISP and a shortage, and they need money and they need officers as well. I know how the pro Burrito Supreme leader said, here's that. And like, well, what do you two assholes suggest that we do? They do need somebody that's along with the ride along with BPD when they do the unhoused related calls. And how are we supposed to get the blah, 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 blah. Neither one of us claims to have all the answers, although we know where we would start.
Yeah, I do. The answer is nothing. Do nothing. It's not a government job.
Okay, exactly.
It never was. It never is. You make it worse, and you steal our money and our rights while you do it.
That is true.
And if you really care, if our neighbor, what was her name, Kathy so-and-so, making 6 figures with homelessness, if she really cared, she'd help them herself. And so would all of the people who claim to care.
Who would provide her W-2 annually if she was doing it herself?
Questions that we don't care about.
And I was only going to say, yes, we'll take Paul's answer in the spirit and what you will. I was just going to say that we're breaking down how the mainstream is presenting this. Even though Paul's answer is an answer, I'm not even. This is the point of the presentation is not even necessarily to say like, here's all the exact answers. It's more just to point out how disingenuous the presentations from the mainstream media is on these topics as ever.
Well, yeah, I never claimed to offer answers. Wait, I didn't offer any answers. You posed the hypothetical question just now, so I offered an answer. But my big irk right now is listening again and again and again to the mainstream media basically run native ads for Big Daddy government with every single piece of quote unquote journalism they do. There was no pushback. There was no actual hard questions. There was nothing. It was just like, yeah, okay. So, how you guys feeling about this? Oh yeah, we're feeling pretty good. Money is what we need. Money's what we're going to get. And we're going to keep getting bigger and offering more stuff. Community, services. Give us your money. And meanwhile, the media is like, okay, cool. And if you want a job with the government, here's where to find one.
Here is different version of the same thing with regard to ISP. This is from NPR.
Not enough people are applying to be Idaho State Police troopers in northern Idaho, which could deepen the ongoing officer shortage, according to a press release from ISP. With just over a month remaining before applications close for the January Trooper Academy, ISP says only 7 applicants for the Coeur d'Alene region and 3 for the Lewiston region meet the minimum requirements.
That led me down a little bit of a rabbit hole here because, of course, the question then arises, as is always the question to the never-ending drumbeat of not enough, not enough, not enough. What is enough? Who is determining what the proper staffing levels is for ISP? What metrics are you using? Who is making the discretionary call? We need a heli. We need 2 helis. We need 6 helis. We need 20 troopers, 200 troopers. How are these determinations made, and what would be enough? The questions are never posed, let alone the answers. So here's a little bit of a
no, but those actually are good questions. So if Brady Greenbush was asking us, those questions, and be like, you know what, Brady, our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man news reporter, government mouthpiece, that's a good question, and it would actually be a good question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Soundbite.
That's a good one. Here is an Idaho.
All I know is I'm excited to hear that only 7 people applied for the job. I mean, my God, let's make it like 3 next time.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
If you hear, they said, I believe she said there was only 7 were at the end of the application process after passing all of the whatever the background check, all the things they do. There was only 7 qualified. Isn't that what she said?
ISP says only 7 applicants for the Coeur d'Alene region and 3 for the Lewiston region meet the minimum requirements.
Meet the minimum requirements. They didn't give us how many applied. 1,600 people applied, but it turns out only 7 of them were.
It feels good. This is good news. This is a bit of good news. I'm just gonna revel in this. I'm gonna roll around this mud like a happy muddy pig for a moment. It makes me feel really good. Only 7 in the Coeur d'Alene area. That's District 1, so that's Bonner County, that's Boundary County, that is Kootenai County, I believe that is Benewah County, and potentially Latah County. Potentially, I don't know if coming out of Lewiston, if Lewiston covers Latah County or not, but that makes me super happy.
Oh, I see. So if your house is on fire and you called 911, you wouldn't care if anybody showed up. Is that it?
Well, first off, the cops don't do that kind of stuff. They're more likely to arrest you while your house is on fire. And,
we heard you were playing poker in here, sir.
So we set your house on fire and arrested you.
Okay, here is a little bit of
ISP is a fucking joke, and I'm telling you, because Idaho doesn't have highway patrol.
Littering and.
See, we don't have just straight up highway patrol like our favorite Super Troopers movie. So ISP is highway patrol. 80-90% of what they do is pull you over for going too fast. They pull you over for traffic. They make their bread and butter by harassing you while traveling. That's ISP. They do have departments that do other stuff, but the other stuff is just as bad or worse, like their ABC department. More you know, the Alcohol Beverage Control Board in Idaho, which runs liquor like the jihadists run everything in their own countries. They're Mormon Islamists is what ABC is. The way they treat
Oh, well, yeah, because you don't want to be impure now, do you? Why don't you read the Idaho constitutional provision on impurity, Paul Michael Banducci?
Yeah, and the Idaho Constitution section on upholding and maintaining the morality of the public. That's my favorite part of the Idaho Constitution.
The morality.
Yeah, good stuff there. So almost all of ABC is run by the Mormons, and that arm of ISP, which enforces the ABC laws, are also made up of Mormons. They're basically just blonde-haired, blue-eyed jihadis with special underwear.
Too bad it's jihadis with special underwear is too long for a show title, but it's good. Here's the rabbit hole a little bit I started looking for answers to that question, or if anyone ever gets close to providing the answers of who determines what ISP's staffing level should be and what is enough and all those questions. So I came across a couple things.
Wait, I know. I bet I know. It's the ISP chief of police. You know, the guy whose job it is who's incentivized to make his departments all bigger.
Here is from April of this year. It's Colonel Bill Gardner of ISP. He's the director, as you just somehow magically guessed correctly.
Leaders at the Idaho State Police tell me they're struggling to keep troopers on the force after years of funding has not kept up with competitive pay. I'm Meridian neighborhood reporter Ali Tripke is speaking with the ISP colonel about what needs to change as a bill that would secure some more funding awaits the governor's signature.
These are the things that keep me up at night, is that phone call that I get at night and something that's terrible that happens. And then I go,
somebody was playing poker in their own house.
What if something bad happens? and we only have 7 officers.
And then we go back and research it and think, could this been stopped by having a police force that's fully staffed, right?
After losing,
oh my God! If only we had that 8th officer to go back and use the payphone to make that all important call we needed, then we could have stopped this crime.
Right.
Because as we've heard from other episodes, they're all using payphones to make important phone calls because they don't have enough money.
Yes, hi, dispatch. I only put in 15 cents, so I only have a second.
By having a police force that's...
Damn it, these things don't take debit cards.
By having a police force that's...
Who carries change anymore? This is ridiculous.
By having a police force that's fully staffed, right?
If only I hadn't replaced my ashtray with handcuffs.
After losing access to gas tax funding 5 years ago, Idaho State Police now rely on the state's general fund, along with just $3 from each vehicle registration going towards trooper pay. Leaders say that
Hey, you know what else happened about this while we're picking this shit apart? The gas tax didn't go down.
No, they just lost
the
access
ISP got less of it.
They lost access.
Yeah, they got less of it.
They couldn't get
into
the room any longer.
But they didn't take less from us.
Right. No, of course not. It's just that ISP, the master key to the evidence locker full of that money, they didn't have access.
Along with just $3 from each vehicle registration going towards trooper pay. Leaders say that funding falls short of what's needed to stay fully staffed.
And so what is needed? I kept attempting to find the answer to.
Staffed.
And right now, I have about 40 openings in those ranks. That's a lot of vacancy for those that are responsible to
make it
ensure
60.
Public safety is out there.
They're also losing troopers to city.
I assure you, public safety will increase the fewer of these people are on the roads. I am more likely to get shot and killed or harassed or beat up by these guys on the road than I am by anything and anybody else that I could ever encounter on the road in Idaho. And it's not even close.
They're also losing troopers to city and county agencies, where pay is often higher.
In fact, in Moscow, there's normally 4 troopers that live in that town, and then they work those counties around there. I have 0 troopers in Moscow right now, none. So I have to supplement
they're pretty
troopers
stoked
from
about
either
that.
Coeur d'Alene or from Lewiston to make their way up to Moscow to work.
Leaders say staffing shortages can impact how quickly they're able to assist local departments, like in Meridian, where troopers helped shut down I-84 Wednesday afternoon in an effort to keep the public safe during a police pursuit.
We need to do something to address the critical trooper shortage. It's getting to the point where if you're out on the highway and you dial 911, there might not be a trooper to show up.
Hoping to increase trooper retention, Colonel Gardner requested $18 million earlier this year through Senate Bill 1379, which would have been funded by increasing vehicle registration fees by about $5. But the proposal was scaled back and ultimately stalled at the State House, making way for a new measure, House Bill 967, that would bring in about $4 million instead.
So when you ask, am I happy with it?
There they did it. They did it again. We want 18 million. No. Okay. How about 4, which is actually what we really wanted to begin with. Oh, okay. Well, that's way more reasonable. Sure. I mean, what are we, 12 years old?
You know what?
Everybody knows that tactic.
We are, because it works.
It does.
So
yeah, well, again, you're dealing with the general populace that is basically, the mental capacity of a wet towel, and the legislators who have the cumulative IQ of a cold bowl of soup. So of course it works.
I thought Paul Michael Banducci would refer to it as Gen Pop.
So when you ask, am I happy with it? It's You know, I would be tempted to call it a Band-Aid.
This is not my preferred approach, but it's a compromise. Thus my willingness to support this compromise bill. We need to stop.
We've compromised and we're charging all of you more.
Yeah. Also, I like he's interviewing himself.
Am I happy with it?
Or maybe, I don't know, maybe the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man reporter asked him, are you happy with this? But he got to it later and he was like,
when you asked, am I happy with it?
Am I happy with it? No, I'm not. Do I want more money?
I sat down the other day. I sat down the other day and I asked myself, am I happy with this? And I thought to myself, well, we get more money. I mean, I'm not happy that we don't get as much money as I wanted, but I'm okay with it.
Call it a Band-Aid.
This is not my preferred approach, but it's a compromise. Thus my willingness to support this compromise bill. We need to stop the bleeding and help retain our quality troopers.
Stop the bleeding. They always use phrases like that. Stop the bleeding. Yeah, okay. How about we stop the bleeding that you're doing to us?
ISP's bleeding out.
That's where the bleeding is.
A similar sentiment echoed across the Senate floor Wednesday as lawmakers advanced the bill to the governor's desk.
And if we value all of our state employees, we need to do better.
Guess who this is?
Oh, is that? I recognize that voice. I mean, these cuts are killing police officers.
These cuts
literally
are killing people.
Yeah, this is our homegirl, Melissa Wintro, who has the state's hand shoved up her rear end, and they just work her mouth like a puppet to always say the exact same thing.
And if we value all of our state employees, we need to do better. And we need to fund all of them and give them.
But I don't.
Listen. Well, it doesn't matter if you do or don't. She's taking it anyway. But listen to what she wants to do.
And we need to fund all of them and give them the raises and pay their health care.
I love it. All right, it's the last 10 seconds.
ISP leaders say they'll look to address a long-term solution in future legislative sessions. In Meridian, I'm neighbor.
Yeah. So that was from April of this year. And that led me, because again, I'm still searching for, that was a long clip of Colonel Leader Bill Gardner of ISP just saying we don't have enough staffing, we don't have enough money, and I'm attempting to figure out how they're determining.
Hard numbers on these sorts of things. See,
what is
for a number of reasons. It's hard to calculate, Scott. You just don't know. It's like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world will never know. Just shut up and pay us, please. Like, it's very, it's complicated. There's a lot of things involved. Don't you worry your tax-paying head off about it. We're just going to throw out a number and then we're going to compromise somewhere in between that number and a different number. And a compromise means you still pay more, but don't worry about it. We know what we need and what we want, and we're just going to, we're going to do that. Just know that no matter what, after thinking about it, I'm not happy.
We're bleeding out.
We're bleeding out. I hate these people.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting,
keep my own money.
You make it not that way. I hate
everything
so much about the things that you choose to be.
One more clip here before our mid show, and I know we're on a hard out here. So this once again, I was continuing to search down the rabbit hole of anything resembling an answer to this question, and I stumbled upon this January 2025 interview on Matt Todd's show, The Ranch, with the very same ISP Colonel Bill Gardner, the director, and this provided a couple of gems with regard. It did no answers on the questions that we're attempting to ask here, but definitely some gems here with regard to ag, which, as you know, in Idaho,
agriculture is king in Idaho.
Have a listen to this.
How is that relating to Idaho? I mean, you bring up this one particular example of human trafficking. Is this a common thing? Is it common enough that it's on your radar? Is it very infrequent? What's the relationship with human traffickers in Idaho?
Well, I'm sure you recognize that one of the governor's top priorities is human trafficking. I think he realizes that this problem started at the federal level, and this didn't originate here in Idaho. But unfortunately, Idaho is now having to deal with this. And so he has not only given me the direction, but he's provided resources in order to fight this scourge. What's interesting in Idaho with human trafficking, I think when people hear human trafficking, they think of the sexual element behind it and the sex crimes that take place. But honestly, most of our cases have to do with the agricultural industry, where people are brought across the border and they're essentially slave labor. And they're told, you will stay at this farm or this dairy and you will work here until the cost of bringing you across is paid off. And they're just servitude forever because they never get it paid off. And so there are, again, I won't go into too many details, but there are several cases we're actively working right now where it's not a sexual element, but it's basically slave labor in Idaho's agricultural industry.
Weird. And a couple of legislators worked on that stuff really, really hard for the, what is it? We're in 2020, for the 2026 legislative session, and then lost their primaries because of it. King Ag likes slave labor.
Agriculture is king.
They don't frame it that way.
Of course not.
They don't frame it that way. But hey, rules for thee, but not for me. Illegal immigrants is cool when it works for us, but it's not cool if it actually is competition. But it's totally cool when Big Ag gets to use it as slave labor. Nothing to see here. Everybody move along. If you challenge it, we'll take your seat in the primaries. And they did.
Well, what do you want us to do, man? Americans won't pick lettuce. What do you want us to do?
Just make the government smaller, and you'd be amazed what people will do.
What?
I'd say that's where most of our human trafficking cases come from.
Gosh, that's rough.
Okay, so for one, I just that's soundboard material.
Gosh, that's rough.
Yes.
I love it. It goes on.
Gosh,
I'm going to make a request right now. That one.
It's so good.
I want that one. I picked that one.
Gosh, That's Rough's not quite a show title, but boy, do I love it.
I thought about it too for just a second, but definitely a sound drop.
In these cases, who's the perpetrator, right? Because we know who the victim is. Are these individuals who are being trafficked by a larger organization that are then essentially presenting them as legal labor to the farm owners or the farm managers?
This is the moment where Lieutenant Dan says, I can't actually talk about this on air, Matt Todd, or my job might be next.
Who's responsible for this?
So all the intelligence points to the cartels that are doing this. And I think when people hear the word cartel,
you mean the
they
ag
automatically
cartels?
think of the drug trade. That's what they're known for. That's what they do.
MS-13.
But they're in it to make money. That's their entire goal. And so whatever avenue that is, if they could make enough money selling fake Oakley sunglasses, they're going to do it, right?
What is anybody's goal in any of the stuff we've been hearing so far about the Boise unhoused industrial complex, ISP? What are the goals of everything that we've just been discussing heretofore? All I've been hearing is people talk about money, more money, bring in more money, get more money. So yeah, good question. What cartel are you talking about?
That's their entire goal. And so whatever avenue that is, if they can make enough money selling fake Oakley sunglasses, they're going to do it, right? If they can make money selling people, they're going to do it. If they're making money selling...
If we can make enough money selling registration to citizens who have to register their cars that they already bought and paid for, we'll do it.
We'll do it.
You see, the government is a cartel too. Government just doesn't like competition. It loves crime, just doesn't like competition. It's got to be the only gang in town.
You got to register the car for your safety, citizen.
If they're making money selling drugs, they're going to do it.
Oh,
Interesting government. Yeah, that's an interesting point.
Pfizer.
That's a really interesting point.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Yeah. How many boosters do you have, Lieutenant Dan?
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Is anybody connecting any dots on this?
And in this case, they realize that they can, and they're very good at masking themselves as a legitimate private entity. And then when you really pull everything back and you pull these layers back, you realize who you're dealing with. You're dealing with the cartel.
So hey, you know what? At least they have the decency to turn a profit, unlike you guys in the government.
And not be, and just be a little bit more straight up about who you are and what your intentions are. Okay, I just found all of this to be so.
These other cartels that are extorting these poor people. It's like, but
the victims.
But you do the same thing to us. You just file the right paperwork and wear a costume while you do it.
It's just a 3% increase, citizen.
All right, dig on this for a second. If they arrest me for going, oh my God, I went 10 miles faster than the posted sign that I didn't vote for on the road that they forced me to pay for, that I didn't vote for, that they put through a spot that I didn't vote for, but I violate that and they pull me in and I don't go quietly and they kidnap me like a cartel and put me in jail and hold me hostage like a cartel. And then when I get out of there, because in Kootenai County, a lot of the county jails do this, they charge you for your stay like a cartel. And if you work in there, because like the kitchen is run by inmates, it's all inmate workers. So you have to pay off your way in there like a cartel. And the whole way, they transport you from spot to spot, then they hold you in different spots, all against your will, which sure feels and looks a lot like human trafficking. Oh, and guess what? They make money all along the way. They don't turn a profit because they're terrible at business, but they do make money.
And then when you really pull everything back and you pull these layers back, you realize who you're dealing with. You're dealing with the cartel.
Yes.
So in some cases,
you know what? That is the most true thing he has said. If you pull the layers back, then you know who you are dealing with.
Vachezekt Ben Jezelf.
So in some cases, yes, Idaho farmers are being tricked into think that they're bringing people on to work at their farms. Legally, they think they're following the law, but it turns out that they're not. And so that is the case oftentimes. God, that's really rough.
What?
Isn't it so good? And then here, listen to that. Listen at the very end. We get one more gem.
Oftentimes.
Wait.
Oh, don't talk
he
over
just
it.
flipped that around.
Listen.
Oftentimes.
God, that's really rough.
I love it so much. I can't get enough.
God, that's really rough.
Do you see what just happened, Scott? It's the farmers who are the victims. The farmers didn't know. They're the victims here.
They're the victims. King Ag is a victim.
They took your dam! They took your dam!
God, that's really rough.
Okay.
Matt Todd, everyone, and Lieutenant Dan.
So good. Well,
for South Idaho.
You know what's not rough, Paul? You want to have a gander at what's not rough?
Executive producer donations.
Hey, the value for value model.
And the fact that we don't threaten them with violence in order to collect them.
See, no, that would be acting like a cartel.
Yeah, but we're the victims here.
Gosh, that's rough.
The value for value
and
model.
The worst part of it all is the farmers don't even know that what they're doing is illegal. Oh, geez, that is rough.
Gosh, that's rough.
Agriculture is king in Idaho.
The king of this program, I don't know, it's a stupid transition, but is the value for value model. Value for value is an advertiser-free, outside influence-free, freedom, liberty model. And not this kind of freedom, but the actual liberty of not being beholden to outside interests who dictate what you should say or not say, or push or not push, or otherwise shill on behalf of in order to get their money. No, we just do value for value as pioneered by Adam and John, the late JCD on No Agenda. And we gratefully borrow that model and apply it here. It is purely reliant on how valuable you, our producers, think this product is. We try to make it a valuable product. We try to
It's
put
a free
out
market podcast.
That's exactly it. We try to put out as valuable a product as we can. It comes out every Thursday. We try to be consistent. We try to be of quality, and we hope that you, our producers, find that to be the case. And if you do, we ask that you contribute back value to our program with your time, talent, and treasure. That's it. That's the whole model. It's super direct, and it's free market. Not a fake free
I'd like
market.
to think of ourselves as the kind of the newest style of pirate radio. And maybe I'm patting ourselves on the back a little too hard. I don't know. You guys can, donate some money and give us a note and tell us that we suck. But I kind of feel that it's the newest form of pirate radio. It's kind of the last bastion left.
Exactly. No, that is what it is. It's a good description. And it's not, how much the term free market gets applied to stuff that isn't actually free and is not really a real market. We're free market capitalism. Really? When was in 1804? Yeah. I mean, when was that true? In any case, this is as real a form of that as I think you can really get. And that is to just put out value and ask value back. Yep.
Well, we actually have an understanding of, terms and concepts, and we have a grasp on how to properly use those terms and concepts. So when we say free market, we actually mean it. It's actually free market. If we provide value, we sure love you giving us value back, but you don't have to. It's voluntary. Voluntary interaction, baby.
Indeed, and value means many different things to many different people. And value to you could mean your time or your talent, which means, for one, spreading the word and using your time or your oratory talent or influence talent to convince others to check out the show. And that means, send people the link, don't be shy about mentioning us, keep us front of mind. So when these conversations come up about, the inland Northwest and following along with the news, quote unquote, et cetera, you're like, oh, I know kind of a fun and more interesting way to do that than just sort of scrolling Reddit or scrolling Facebook or whatever. There's this show. They do media deconstruction, but for our region. You should check them out. So that's a great time that's very valuable to us, especially at this early stage, less than a year on the air here. Very valuable time add to tell people about the show and spread the word.
Yeah, we appreciate your ears and we appreciate your referrals.
Talent is sending in show art, sending in audio clips, sending in articles, which I'm getting more of these days. And I appreciate that you guys are taking the time to send stuff that you think is interesting. And some of the stuff doesn't necessarily translate to audio really well, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Don't make that call. Continue to send us stuff. Or if you find yourself starting to type or starting to send a link, hit the forward button and you don't actually follow through, I won't name any names, Reb. Just, don't be shy. Hit the send button. And we love to get it all. We really appreciate all the correspondence. Those are all value adds in the time and talent category. All of this is at noidshow.com. That's the portal where you can go to send us a note, send us a request to sign up for the newsletter. That's in the middle of the page at noidshow.com. So are all the links to send back some value in the treasure department of the time talent treasure model. And doing so makes you an executive producer of that episode of No ID. Today is episode number 41, Over the Hill. And we do have a couple executive producers to thank. I would like to start here with another donation from Josh Hoover. Joshua Hoover from last week, who the whole Prison Paul, Prison Mike thing was Josh Hoover. And Josh Hoover's back this week with 6.67. We see what you did there, Josh Hoover. And Josh says, guys, after hearing a little bit more about the In-N-Out story, that's the Snyder family, it's clear that Prison Paul needs to up his game. Prison, jail, is one thing, but Paul now needs to start a burger empire to claim the ultimate hero's journey. I'd looked up this Josh's note. Thanks, Josh. We appreciate it a lot. Josh's note, it inspired me. I was like, I was totally going just off of what I remember about the Snyder story, especially growing up in Southern California. I've always loved In-N-Out. And I had heard pieces of the Snyder story over the years, but as I mentioned on the last show on episode 40, there has not been like any, docuseries, documentary, dramatic, whatever, anything of the sort about the Snyder family, despite the extremely ripe material for such a production. And they're a secretive family. It's still privately owned. So there's a reason that is true, but it still seems like, I don't know, you could do like a Netflix series and you could just change all the names and stuff. And it's like a story that's beyond belief. So, but I was like, how much of that I want to make sure I actually have that right. Because I was just sort of saying a lot of stuff and it was all based on my memory. So I had a bunch of it right about the Esther and Harry starting it, and then the when Harry dies, the oldest son inherits it. I had said it went to the youngest son. That is wrong. It did go to the oldest son, Rich. Rich did die in a plane crash, as I said, but something I did not know, I never remember reading. For one, it was not a small, like a prop job. I was always picturing like a Piper Cub, like he was like a hobbyist pilot. I that was based on absolutely nothing. No, it was a business jet. And there were, I think, 5 people on board. And here's what's crazy. That happened
when your G6 just nosedives, huh?
That's what happened. So it was in 1993. They flew up on that jet to Fresno to watch 11-year-old Lindsay, the granddaughter, the only surviving heir who now is the owner and the president. And this was spurred by, this also, she's been putting out statements publicly about the Twin Falls In-N-Out shooting. So this is all tied in because she currently runs the joint. She was 11 years old and was in a school play. And Rich and some others had flown up in the company jet to watch her in this production. And the freaking thing crashed on the way back in to Southern California, into John Wayne. They were caught up in the wake turbulence of a United Airlines 757. They were like following it like 2 miles behind the big jet. And then for some reason, the pilot's like, we're a little close. ATC, you guys are, well, no, we're fine. Wake turbulence. They got caught up in the wake turbulence. It rolled the thing over and slammed it into the ground. So that's what happened with the plane crash with Rich Snyder, who then now company control goes to Guy Snyder, the younger brother. He's the guy with the drug problems. And he does I had said heroin overdose. I think it was like hydrocodone. It might have been prescription, whatever. The spirit is the same. I don't know if he was mainlining, whatever, but it was drug problems. And he did die of an accidental overdose in 1999, several years later. So now Lindsay, who's now 17 years old, has lost her dad and her uncle, and is Esther's still alive, her grandma, but she's like in her 80s. So anyway, I had it mostly right, but I didn't know any of the jet stuff. And anyway, the story just gets crazier and crazier the more you dig into it. Lindsay's been married 3 times. I mean, it's nuts.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah.
Let's finish our podcast.
Okay, fine. Anyway, we do have...
You're really into this burger dynasty thing.
Well, it's crazy. And anyway, so Joshua thinks that you need to start one yourself because, if you got a drama and, although I don't know about jail, but in any case. There's one more...
plenty of drama, but definitely not burger dynasty drama. Good grief. And you people really get into this In-N-Out family stuff.
I love In-N-Out. This show is sponsored by In-N-Out. Yes, In-N-Out.
I was starting to wonder, man.
One more, and it's easy because there's no note. It's just it said, please keep me anonymous, and it's a shiny Schmeckle. 999. That's 999 from Anonymous, and that thus concludeth the value for value segment of No ID.
Thank you, Josh Hoover. I will take you up. I will. Let's see. What it says? Your advice or your request is duly noted and duly rejected. I've worked in hospitality and retail for 12 years. I don't want to do it again. And food is the worst of the worst. The margins suck. Customer service of that nature sucks. It's hard to do. The regulations are high. And I can't even eat cheeseburgers right now due to restrictive diets and trying to heal my gut. So it ain't happening. But I really appreciate the support, Josh Hoover. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. And for the anonymous shiny Schmeckle. Let me read this quickly too, but actually before we exit the value for value segment, I know you were up against it, but I want to read this from Jeff, a dude named Jeff. And I do want to mention, because it's value for value, we are using Clipperoni, his amazing tool, to do little clips from the show with a generated video, B-roll, and the transcript of the show, just to make sort of video segments of this show, which is an audio show, and his tool is awesome, Clipperoni. So dude named Jeff is providing that tool to us as a value for value thing, and we really greatly appreciate it. It's awesome. He sent a note. He said, heard your recent discussion hit on COVID-era prison releases. That was from last show, from episode 40. I was pretty shocked to watch an episode of a popular Netflix series about bad neighbors / true crime. It was surprising that it actually showed what it's like in Oakland, but the story was police not doing anything about a lunatic threatening a family and even a threat of murder. They finally arrested him after dozens of police calls and restraining orders and etc., only to let him out a couple days later due to COVID policy, and a couple of days after that, he murdered the neighbor. I had to look it up, and he sent a link, the zero bail policy, quote unquote, for the win. From a dude named Jeff. So yeah, we are not overstating the case, where we weren't on the last show, or maybe it was the show before. The notion of, well, there's a virus, the air's dangerous, so all right, why don't you guys there in cell block B just hit the bricks? See you later.
Yeah, true facts. Just remember that when we're dealing with the state, pretty much everything is within the realm of possibility, and the line between parody and real life pretty much doesn't exist anymore. It's shit we can't make up, really. We couldn't write it ourselves because it boggles the mind so thoroughly, and we're not that creative.
Well, Thank you very much, guys. Value for value. Please participate in our value for value model if you find our show valuable. NoIDShow.com.
I'll take you down there for 25 schmeckles.
25 schmeckles? I don't know how much. I don't know what that is. Is that a lot? Is it a little?
Schmeckles. All right, I sent you an email with a great article. Are we covering it this episode or no? About food, about being able, like Idaho allowing us to
Idaho
do what we've done for 10,000 years.
It keeps redirecting
but also,
to this, ladies. Yeah, Idaho opens the kitchen door. Yes.
But hold on, because we got this to do.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't forget. This is your fault, Scott.
Boy, this is really rough.
Now you know who's in charge of this podcast. You all thought you knew. It's not me.
God, that's really rough. Okay. Everybody like to talk about death rates for COVID and stuff. So I looked it up, and it took longer than it should have because they really liked to obfuscate the numbers. We're going to do it as a per capita. For 2020, the year 2020, what do you think is the actual death rate where COVID was not just a contributing factor, but the actual cause of death per the CDC? Give me the per capita.
What the
or
CDC
you can do a
said
percentage as well if you want.
What the CDC said it was in 2020 per 100,000?
Correct.
200.
You would think. And I think when it was during those times, they were doing that. But now that we're farther removed from this and a lot of people have all of a sudden changed their tune, I think the numbers are a little bit more accurate. 70.
Out of 100,000? Yeah, okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Originally, it was, I think, higher than that. Now they say 93.2 per 100,000. However, that's combining COVID as like the cause of death and COVID being attributable or a contributing factor.
Like in that motorcycle accident, for example.
Yeah, like when a guy got bit by a shark and died in the hospital after he lost a limb, but they tested him for COVID. He had it, so they listed COVID as a contributing factor to his death.
Sure.
Because money, stuff like that. So you take that away and it goes down to 70.8 per 100,000. So I thought that's interesting. What does that look like as a percentage? 0.000708%.
Shut it all down.
And we shut down our lives for that. In 2021, what do you think it was, Scott?
It was probably more, I would think. So I'm going to say, or I don't know actually, because all the nursing home stuff was in 2020. I mean, maybe they're saying it was less. Let's go 55.
You actually should have gone with your gut. It was more in 2021.
Yeah.
It was 80 per 100,000.
Sure.
Which equals 0.000878%.
If everything we do saves just one life, I'll be happy.
And then in 2022, it's so comically low that it just makes you cry to know that we shut our lives down for this shit. Some people still did, but depending on where they lived, 0.00004%.
Good stuff.
God, that's really rough.
Yeah, pretty awesome, huh? For reference, then I looked up, okay, well, what are like the top 20 causes of death in the United States? And it gave me a solid top 10 and then another 10 below it that were kind of like, these two. Heart disease, number one, is 157.6 out of 100,000. Cancer, 139.4. And then it drops precipitously. It drops to 53.3. And that is accidents, unintentional injuries.
Sure. Falling off ladders.
Yeah. So for a year or two, I guess COVID was number 3, but we're dealing with super, super massaged numbers.
And do you know what registered 0 across the board on every metric in that time? Influenza.
The flu.
Where did that go?
And influenza. I don't know, but I'm glad you mentioned it. You know why? Because it is actually 11th on the list of the top 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Where's
back on the list, Scott?
Where's cyclosporiasis and explosive diarrhea month?
Oh, that was the other part of this. Thank you for reminding me. I have this on my phone. Did you know? And actually, I'm going to make this as a second part. It's a question. Are you more likely to die from gun deaths in the USA, heat deaths in Europe, or poop deaths in India?
Oh, it's got to be poop deaths in India, and it's probably not close.
To the tune of 40 people per 100,000 die of diarrhea deaths in India.
Yeah,
and then
that's rough.
It's heat deaths in Europe. 23.5 people per 100,000 die from heat death. Heat death in Western civilization Europe in 2026. For
really
gun
rough.
deaths. And it's not even gun deaths, it's gun homicides. So because gun deaths count, when they do deaths, they count suicide, which is an inaccurate way to track this sort of thing, because you want to commit suicide, you're going to commit suicide. There's a million ways to do it. Guns just happen to be the most efficient. But gun homicides, it's 5. And 95% of those 5 per capita happen in probably 6 cities across the country. That's it. About 6 cities probably account for
Oakland, Baltimore, Atlanta,
Chicago,
Chirac.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I saw this, and that actually is what made me go, you know, that's incredible. And then it also led me to this. What were the real, now that we're a few years apart from it, what were the real numbers for COVID? So you are almost as likely to die from, heat death and poop death. Yeah, anyways, you get the idea. Crazy.
And all the numbers are baloney in the first place.
Baloney.
Because all of the tests, the PCR tests were bullshit. This is all based on fakery in the first place. As Michael Yeadon says,
And
there was
incentives.
And incentives, exactly. What are the incentives? Que bono. So I know you got to go.
It turns out if you have a COVID cases, you get COVID bucks. I could spare 7 more minutes. I got 7 more minutes. Right? It turns out if you incentivize something, you get more of it.
What?
Weird, right?
Well, I'm wondering if, because I have like a couple more really good ones that I would love to get to, and like we could use another 20 minutes on the end of this. Do you want to pick it back up like at 2 when you get back? Is that a possibility?
All right. And it could be earlier than 2. I don't know how long this Zoom thing will go. It might be an hour, it might be an hour and a half, it might be 2. I doubt it. It'll probably be an hour. So I'll hit you up.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I'm just going to work on the first, I'll just edit and do other stuff, and then just let me know. I'll be at my computer.
Roger that, brother.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
You're leveraging the power of email primarily to sell stuff, usually, whatever you make or whatever service you offer or whatnot. And I don't really have a business model right now that's set up for that. But she 100% does. And it already has like 250,000 followers on Facebook, and has already got some products she's been working on, and things like herbal remedy handbooks, and anyways, a number of different things that lend itself pretty much 100% perfectly to this model.
Totally. Well, dude, let's just keep scooting right along, because that is absolutely the gist of, what was it? Representative Heather Scott's email, or not email? Sorry, no. What it was, like a post on her Substack about this exact model.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was on her Substack as well. An email went out. I got the email from my dad, who passed it along. Is every now and then pretty often he'll forward me a lot of this type of Idaho political stuff, and a lot of it passes me by pretty quickly, and that's fine, no big deal. But sometimes it ends up being relevant, and this one I thought was interesting. Because on one hand, it was like, this is a good thing. Woohoo. Yeah, finally a little breath of fresh air. The state boot is coming off the neck a little bit. That's great. And then as soon as I got done thinking that, I went, wait a minute. We should have had the right to do this all along. Oh, they got me again. It's like when you get pulled over by the cops for whatever, usually speeding or whatnot. And, you know, you try to be on your best behavior and the cop's in a good mood and, you know, you successfully escape the encounter with just a warning. And the cop is always so magnanimous about it. Oh, you know, that's okay. Tell you what, I'm just going to let you off with a warning. Or sometimes if they do ticket you and they're like, but you were, you know, polite or compliant, they're like, well, normally this would be $150 ticket because you were going 15 over, but I'll tell you what, we'll knock it down to 90, just like you were going, you know, like 10 over. And you drive away and you're like, man, that was great. What a nice guy. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like, this never should have happened to begin with. We never should have had this interaction to begin with. It's like, you know, you're busy kissing the ring. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Wait, shit. This shouldn't have even happened. So that's where I find myself with this particular news item.
He's already pulled over.
The title of the Substack post is Idaho Opens the Kitchen Door, New Opportunities for Families, Farmers, and Entrepreneurs from Representative Heather Scott. It's like, woo! The upshot is Idahoans can now produce and sell baked goods, jams and jellies, pickles and fermented foods, sauces and condiments, soup mixes, candy, granola, honey, dried and dehydrated foods, freeze-dried foods, basically blah, 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 and certain non-alcoholic beverages and more directly to consumers! ! The idea behind the law is simple. Idahoans should have greater freedom to produce food, be entrepreneurial, and choose who they buy their food from. So it's like, yeah, that's great. Apothecary Mary can sell her wares to the people who wish to buy them of their own volition. And it's like, wait a minute.
The thing we've been doing for 10,000 years of human history.
Okay, then. That was always allowed.
Okay, good times. So,
thank you, government. Thank you so much for giving us a right that we had, for giving it back to us. Thank you so much.
So then toward the end
how fucked up is that?
Toward the end, Representative Scott says, government doesn't always have to respond to an issue by creating another license, fee, permit, or bureaucracy. Sometimes the answer is to remove unnecessary barriers and give responsible people room to create. Sometimes.
Hear. Sometimes.
Better than zero. I mean, you got to credit where credit's due, but sometimes.
Yeah.
But most of the time it isn't.
Yeah. It's sort of like Randy Westland in Post Falls saying, yeah, we don't need 100 police officers like Coeur d'Alene has. We only need 80. Okay. I guess that's better? ?
And then I do like how Representative Scott signs her email, or I'm sorry, her Substack post. In Liberty, Representative Heather Scott.
Hooray! ?
Well, got to take the wins where you can, I suppose. So good times on that one.
Even though the wins were wins that we had all along. And then somewhere, so you know what this means to continue breaking this particular narrative down. And Heather Scott's actually one of my favorites. That's saying something. She's one of my favorites in the state legislature. She is about as close to a true conservative, Idaho conservative as you can get, and even dabbles in the pool of libertarianism from time to time, which is, you know, why the MSM hates her. The establishment definitely hates her. The quote unquote common sense Republicans hate her. So that tells you everything you need to know. She's one of the better ones. But as you sit and you simmer on this, you think to yourself, this means that somewhere along the line, it became illegal to do this stuff. So for 10,000 years of human history, or however long we've been around as a species, I think it's probably about that long, but whatever. I'm not going to get into that debate. 2,000 years, 10,000 years, whatever. We've been doing this as a species. Then somewhere, somehow in like the probably 1980s, 1990s, it became illegal. And now in 2026, they're rolling a little bit of it back. And here you go, citizen.
Good news, citizen.
Here are some rights back. Your adorable cottage industry that you do out of your house and that you sell stuff to your neighbors, we'll let you have it. It's allowed.
Now, be careful, though, as a consumer of goods from someone like Apothecary Mary, if they're not engaging in, let's say, pasteurization and giving you raw milk.
Mm-hmm.
Raw milk? Think of it as raw sewage.
Well, they're very, one of the things, too, you got to watch out for, non-alcoholic. Don't you dare even think about anything alcoholic, or they will kick down your door with that boot, put it right back on your neck. To the raw milk thing, I did actually see at the bottom of the email that I sent you, it does include raw milk, things you can sell with restrictions. It says dairy and milk and raw milk are subject to, oh, never mind, I'm wrong. You can't. It's under the important notes sections. Dairy and raw milk. Dairy and raw milk are subject to separate state laws. This includes milk, cheese, yogurt, butter, and more. Check requirements before you produce or sell.
Well, you know why, right? You know why?
It's heavily fecal contaminated. Think about, where the cows, their feces are,
So there's no way we can
out of their
permit you
tits,
to-
obviously.
the alcohol part, it made me think about Alvin Holmes from Alabama when they from the 2010 debate about legalizing home brewing, and Alvin is very, very pro government regulating alcohol.
Chevy's Regals is stamped and approved by the governmental agency that said this is healthy.
What would we do without such an agency?
Scientifically trained for that. See, you got to be scientifically trained to sell moonshine.
Trained to determine that.
So good that we have them looking out for us, don't you think, Scott? Because without them, society would collapse and it would be anarchy. Anarchy.
The late, great Alvin Holmes, one of the deceased Burrito Supreme leaders of the state of Alabama. Rest in peace.
If only he had consumed more Chevy's Regal, he probably would be alive today because that stuff was safe.
This is healthy. How you gonna make it in your home if you don't have the facility to make sure it's healthy?
How can you do that?
Just like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, Scott.
Unanswerable questions.
The world will never know.
Here is some cool news for Paul and I are both poker players. We, of course, only play poker outside of the state of Idaho on account of, we're not allowed to do that. But we do enjoy the game. And there was some huge news from the World Series of Poker that just took place in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's it. It's over. He did it. The kid from Spokane, Washington, has just won the main event.
What an incredible moment for Lucas Jumelon. The 22-year-old Spokane native wins the World Series of Poker main event tonight with $10 million as the purse. Not too shabby. He's now got the third most winnings of any Washington native. That's all time, by the way. And he did it in just 3 months after graduating college. Jumelon is the only Washington State native to ever win the World Series of Poker main event. A tournament started all the way back in 1970. And I tell you what, if you look back at the pictures of all the folks who have won it back then, you can see some excellent mustaches.
So congratulations to him. But did you
wait? That's what they're talking about?
Yeah, I guess so. Check out Amarillo Slim's handlebar. Boy, you ever seen a guy with a handlebar mustache and a cowboy hat? It's really quite something to behold.
I bet he drinks raw milk.
Did you catch this part?
$10 million as the purse. Not too shabby.
$10 million as the purse? What is your understanding of what a purse is?
Usually for a fight or for the racetrack or something that you mug off a woman.
Well, yeah, Paul Michael Banducci snatched a purse from an old lady. Yet another
first
prison
off,
stint.
I do have a reputation to maintain. Secondly, none of my crimes have been violent. Thank you, sir. All of my crimes have been against the state. I am, as you would say, an enemy of the state. No victims other than the state. And the state cannot be a victim.
The state.
Because they are the perpetrator.
My understanding of what a purse is the total amount of money. Like how much is in the purse? Like it's $100 million. So Mike Tyson gets $20 million and that's like the purse is the total amount. Is that wrong? No, that is what it is.
I don't know. I don't think it's wrong enough to argue over. There, you got one.
Really?
I'm not arguing.
What?
Yeah.
What fun is that?
Yeah. Sorry?
Here, let's ask the
should we end the podcast here?
No, forget it. I know what it is. It's the total prize pool. That's what the purse is. So it's just not right. The $10 million is not the purse of the main event. The main event's purse was 91 million. It was like the total amount of money that was going to be paid out.
Yeah.
$10 million was the first prize. Yeah. Yeah, so $10 million for first, and then goes down from there. Second got $6 million. The way you pay out poker tournaments is super top heavy for the main event. But yeah, $10 million was just the first prize payout, not the purse.
Yeah, but the pay jumps get huge for the
Yes.
basically if you make the top 9, you're a millionaire.
Yeah, the final table, yeah.
But what they don't say, so if you know, the main event attracts, well, recently it's attracted close to 10,000 participants. It's a freeze out, so you're a one and done. It's a $10,000 buy-in. If you bust out, you're done. A lot of the tournaments you can rebuy multiple times, sometimes unlimited times. This one's a freeze out. You buy in once, you bust out, you're done. It has historically, over the last 3, 4, 5 years, Scott, it's been in between 9 and 10,000 participants.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
a
like
lot.
90,
I mean, that's huge. They take it.
Yep.
They have to take it in 6 days for the first round. There's like 6 different flights for rounds 1. You got round 1A through like round 1F because there's that many people.
Yeah, you can only fit so many.
But only
in
the
room.
top 10% get paid.
Yep, making the money in the main event is a life goal for sure. So anyway, congrats
It is.
to
It's tough. No, credit to Julemon, man. That's cool.
Spokane
the
boy,
question
yeah.
is, do you think we will see him in the Quest poker room ever?
Unlikely. They usually, now they're poker royalty and they're playing nosebleeds. That's not always true, but it is often true.
Yeah, it would be kind of cool.
It would be.
Have it plunk down to the 2-5 table. Actually, I'm not sure if I'd want that though, because then, it means nothing to him. It'll mean a lot to us. You're like, I bet $500, and he goes, oh, so like 5 pennies? Okay.
Yeah. I have 9 high. I call. You're like, I have 7 high. I have a busted straight draw. How'd you call me with 9 high?
Is that 4-7 of diamonds that got us again, Scott?
Got him. It was suited. Some poker humor.
But I had like the 5th nut flush draw.
Here is, we got a couple more for this week. Here is a pre-roll that NPR is running on all of the programming. So when you go and you like the ISP shortage clips and anything else you're pulling, this is what you hear before the clips start.
Hi there, I'm Heath Drew.
Which, speaking of the World Series of Poker, doesn't that sound like mid-2000s ESPN World Series of Poker coverage? So it's
that is exactly what just went through my brain.
I didn't even mean to do that, but that ties in nicely.
Hi there, I'm Heath Drusen, host of the Extremely American podcast. Do you have questions about extremist movements? Join me on August 13th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Boise State's Osher Institute for an Ask Me Anything about extremism in Idaho and across America. This event supports Season 3 of Extremely American with a suggested donation of $10. You'll get your questions answered while directly supporting this vital reporting. Hope to see you there.
Vital reporting.
Vital reporting. They have a nice little bed there, and then they do the studio fade out. Do you think...
If I don't have him to tell me who's an extremist in Idaho, then I don't know what we're going to do. You never... It's buzzwords, right? Code words, red flags, the things people do, things people say, terms they use. And almost always when the term extremism is used, I automatically know the issuer, the utterer of that term is going to be a leftist. Because the way leftists frame their whole world is that anything to the quote unquote right of them is extremism.
They're normal. See, they're normal.
We live in a time when noticing things is far right.
Extreme. That ought to be fun.
I'm still waiting for Mountain Dew to make a flavor for us. Wouldn't that be awesome? Mountain Dew, far right, extreme far right edition.
What do you think? Code Red. What do you think that was?
Oh shit, you're right. They've done it already.
Code Deep Extreme Red.
See, when they came out with that though, it was 2007. I was in the middle of college and fully immersed in Call of Duty Modern Warfare, and I did not connect the dots for Extreme Code Red Mountain Dew.
Too busy playing the video games?
I was too busy poning noobs. That's right.
So that ought to be fun. I'll see if there's a recording of what should be a very entertaining question and answer with what was his name?
Host of the Extreme.
Wait.
Hi there, I'm Heath Drusen.
Heath Drusen. Okay, that ought to be entertaining. And one final one this week, kind of alluded to it at the top. The mainstream has pivoted into guns bad.
The three armed people who took on an active shooter in Twin Falls on August 1st have been hailed heroes. In particular, a man identified as Jordan Salinas, seen in now viral video shooting back at the suspect. And now, like it or not, we have a reputation for Idaho shoots back. That's a motto on merchandise that quickly found its way online. I talked with police and gun experts about their reaction to this motto in a story that's new this morning.
What do you think the experts' opinions are going to be?
What do you think the odds are any of the experts have ever handled a gun?
What's happening? What's happening? What happened? What's happening? Shoot. Shoot. Go. Just go.
The officers responding to the In-N-Out shooting said it loud and clear. Good Samaritans with guns made a difference.
We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
Can I ask, why do they continuously refer to this person as the suspect? You heard the anchor do it at the top. You were hearing a police sheriff, whatever spokesperson guy in a badge at a podium. What do you mean the suspect? You suspect him? Isn't it just the perpetrator? I don't understand the continued use of it.
Allegedly.
The alleged suspect.
The alleged suspect who may or may not have been there shooting up the In-N-Out.
We don't know.
We got him.
You're innocent until proven guilty.
We believe their actions helped drive the suspect away from the scene, preventing further casualties.
35-year-old Jordan Salinas is now famous. His outline is on stickers and T-shirts that say, Idaho shoots back. Salinas says he just wanted to help.
You know what's funny, too, about it? I don't know if you've noticed that the silhouette that has been it's all over the ultranet. The silhouette is based on an AI enhancement of the footage of Salinas shooting the suppressed pistol.
Yeah.
And the AI sort of made it misread his baseball cap and ponytail as the brim of a cowboy hat. Yeah. So the silhouette is him in a cowboy hat, even though he wears not only is it a baseball cap with the extreme curved bill, the bill itself has notches in it for his sunglasses.
Yep.
So that's cool.
True facts.
The world is fake.
Salinas says he just wanted to help.
My goal was to try to
kill that motherfucker,
help as many people get home as possible.
Salinas told the Idaho Statesman he trained to take on an active shooter ever since the deadly Boise Town Square Mall shooting in 2022. We don't know his regimen, but Boise police tell me some of their officers train every other week with virtual reality.
We asked him if he'd take a shooting, and he said no. So we don't know his regimen.
With virtual reality or other use of force training to be prepared.
And always be thinking, what if?
And certified firearms instructor Matt Osborne says that kind of dedicated training is truly what it takes to handle the stress of what is essentially combat.
Do 50 push-ups.
So the rest of you plebes, don't even bother to carry, because unless you train as hard as this guy, don't even bother. That's what's going on here, by the way. I'm just breaking this down as we go. That is the inference, or the implication. That is what they are implying with the way they're framing this right now. So this guy had lots of training. You, however, don't. So you don't belong doing this. The rest of you, get lost.
Do 50 push-ups and then get up and try to engage and see how just that adrenaline, just that heart rate. I'll speak personally. I'm a great shot when I'm calm and relaxed. 50 push-ups, I've got to take a break, or otherwise my muzzle's going all over the place.
Police say training to hit a target is one thing, but that doesn't include what's known as the backdrop.
One of the things that a lot of times people don't take into consideration is what's behind the individual that they're firing at. And that's something that we train extensively on, is knowing what we call it the backdrop is.
One backdrop can include an innocent bystander. Another complication is the confusion a Good Samaritan with a gun can cause for officers.
My concern with citizens getting involved is when police respond, we don't know who's who. It's always a sticky situation.
Law enforcement has such a tough job. When they arrive on scene, probably all they know is shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
Sheriff Jack Johnson told Idaho News 6 in this case all three people who were armed had their guns down when officers arrived on scene. But mistakes have happened before, like in 2024 during a prison escape attempt at St. Alphonsus in Boise.
He's got the gun in his hand. He's got the gun in his
During that incident, a Boise police officer accidentally opened fire on an IDOC officer thinking he was the shooter. When it comes to the In-N-Out shooting, Chief Domney says a citizen shooter is problematic.
Not at all saying he did anything wrong by any means, but it is a concern of ours.
So how often do...
Wait a minute. So the news report says, this guy says it's problematic. And then what did he actually say?
Not at all saying he did anything wrong by any means, but it is a concern of ours.
He didn't do anything wrong, but it's a concern. I don't know. That's problematic? Is that a fair translation of
I just like the way they're selling it is like what you don't know about these situations could get you killed by a cop.
Yep.
Which is actually kind of true. Ironically, it's absolutely true. I mean, you're talking about a group of people who kill people over having pagers in their hands, cell phones in their hands, groceries in their hands. I mean, just go find the internet. It's an amazing tool and watch a gazillion videos of cops blasting people because they had anything in their hands. He's got a gun. One of my recent favorites is a guy, an officer who unloaded on a citizen, a civilian, during, I think it was a traffic stop, because an acorn fell out of a tree, hit the officer's trunk of his car, made a popping sound, and the guy pulled his firearm and started shooting. The cop did. Stuff he can't make up.
Made a huge mistake.
So,
unironically or ironically, they're not wrong on this because, if you step in and help as a good Samaritan, you're actually liable to get popped by the cops yourself. But stepping back and looking at this whole segment that they're doing here, it's very well done. It's very well crafted, but it's hot garbage. It's basically like, so you can be helpful. It's good to carry a firearm for these sorts of situations, but you actually shouldn't because you could kill someone or they could kill you. Don't do it.
There's about 40 more seconds.
So, how often do citizens involve themselves in active shooter cases? According to the Alert Center at Texas State University, which looked at 433 active shooter cases from 2000 to 2021, only 64 were stopped by a bystander, and most of them were unarmed. Only 12, in fact, were stopped by a bystander with a gun. For Osborne, the answer for what to do in a similar situation is easy.
Avoid at all costs. Evade to get away if you can, and only if it is your last resort to protect yourself, your loved ones, or innocent bystanders, then you engage.
Police have released security camera video of the actual shooting, which showed an off-duty officer and a former law enforcement officer who also engaged the shooter. But perhaps most amazing of all was the unarmed employee outside the visitor center who put his life at risk, distracting the shooter and allowing others to escape.
So that was the most amazing of all. And this is what the firearms expert that they featured in this story, this is what he thinks.
Avoid at all costs.
At all costs. Avoid at all costs. So no matter what the cost.
Flee! Run away!
No matter the cost. So, but what if they're going to, what if the guy actually just walks in the front door of that In-N-Out and just unloads his magazine into the 80 people that are in there? Doesn't matter. I said at all costs. You got to
run away even harder.
At all costs. You flee.
Evade
human
to
shield.
get away.
Well, then what you do is you grab the nearest small child and you use it as a human shield as you flee.
Well, yeah, because the costs don't matter. At all costs.
Costs don't matter. All costs.
Okay. That's the mainstream. That's what, because they normally wouldn't even touch the part where a civilian with a firearm did anything other than a bad thing. So, but they had to in the beginning. And now that a week has passed, they've pivoted to still bad. Seems good, still bad.
Also not mentioned because they would say it's not relevant because apples to apples, but this is really important. So what they did was they looked at active shooter situations, and those numbers might be right. But what they failed to mention is the thousands of incidents each year that are either stopped dead in their tracks or in the middle of what's going on or prevented altogether by people carrying firearms. Muggings, robberies, B&Es, breaking and enterings, kidnappings. There are thousands of incidents that could be way worse than they are or actually stop before they start because people carry firearms. Lots and lots and lots of that.
So that's
Lots
not a
They're
measurable
documented.
stat, or if it is, that's not.
It
what
is a
they
measurable stat
presented,
because
but-
police reports.
Oh,
police
okay.
still get called on those
Yeah,
a lot
fair.
of the time. So it is a measurable stat.
just didn't
and
present
what
it.
actually is it's underrepresented because we don't know how many of those incidents happen and the police don't get called.
Out of 18 billion incidents, only 4 were stopped by civilians, and those people weren't even armed.
Yeah, of this very, very, very particular subset of data that we looked at, a small percentage of it was affected by somebody with a gun. Not paying attention to this huge, huge, huge subset of data where stuff is stopped by a good person with a gun. So just never you mind, citizen. Flee. Don't
At all
carry a
costs.
weapon. It's a bad idea.
At all costs.
Flee. At all costs.
Yes,
Thank you, mainstream media.
Only the state should possess firearms. None of you filthy plebes, you raw milk drinking filthy plebes, should have so much as a musket, were Idaho News 6.
For the record, these people are not anti-gun. They are pro-gun. They're just pro the most dangerous gang on planet Earth, known as the government, having the guns.
The state.
Exclusively. Yep. Yeah.
God, that's really rough.
And psychopathic.
Okay. Episode 41 of No ID in the Can. Yeah, lots of deconstruction, lots of the same stuff in slightly different words, and that's just the nature of media, I guess. I don't know. I hope it stays entertaining. Sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know. Is this just the same stuff week after week? But then I look around at all the other products out there, and I'm like, everyone is doing the same stuff week after week, regardless of the format.
Yeah, but the stories are fresh, and there's lots of shades of shit to sift through. Wow, say that 3 times fast. Oof.
So speaking of shades of shit to shift through, the current show title runners are Statist Tortilla and Spider-Man Reporter. You got a vote?
Statist Tortilla. But it's got to be shitty Statist Tortilla.
You want me to throw the shitty in there? Okay.
With an asterisk. Because
now,
that makes it okay, remember?
You know how like you'd see, some of the old someone would see the Virgin Guadalupe in a tortilla. You remember that whole thing? We have to do like a Governor Pervert like in a tortilla or something like that.
I'll give you $1 million for it. Yeah,
Right.
And then donate it to the homeless shelters in Boise.
I see the Virgin Mary. Okay. Until next week, which will
I'm
be
cured.
episode
I'm no
42.
longer homeless.
Please remember us at noidshow.com. Value for value is the model. And until then, from Post Falls, I'm Scott.
And I'm Paul. Taxation is theft.
Gosh, that's rough.